That's right. We are 1 month down into the season for Michigan State basketball. We're going to get into some of my biggest overreactions after 1 month with someone that could check me on it. Sam Martin, friend of the program, just a great basketball mind. But first, hey, LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions. That's right, Buster. They apply. Sam Martin. Hey, you know what? Let's just get a quick vibe check on this basketball season. Our boys in green and white, we're 1 month in to the season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's unbelievable. 7-4. I ask you, Mr. Sam Martin, on a scale of 1 to 7, 1 being like the greatest vibe of all time, 7 is just like you're spiraling. Where are you at? 7-4, Michigan State. Where are you at so far with this season? Take us to church.
I'm at 3.
Okay.
Genuinely look forward to game days. I think there's a lot to like about this team. I think it's been more down than up the last couple of years with the Hoops team. Thinking maybe things had we might be getting a little long in the tooth in the Izzo era. That was my thought process anyway.
Sure.
But I really like this team. I think the wins and losses have been up and down. I think, with 4 losses on the season, losing by 1 in the win to Gonzaga, that was a great performance. So, no problem for that one. Alabama, once I don't remember for the Alabama game whether Malik Hall had already gotten hurt. I think he had by then. And once Malik Hall went out, the team changed a lot, and they've been up and down in terms of wins and losses since then. But I really like watching AJ Hogard and the Tyson Walker backcourt. It's a wonderful thing, I think, on both sides of the ball. I really like Akins. He was hurt early. They've been without their 2 guys who can play the 3 with Akins and Hall. They haven't had them together very much. When they get that together, I think team will look a lot better. But the backcourt's been great. Joey Hauser, just like really nice season as a movement shooter. And then, Sissoko was great early. He's been a little quiet since then. But overall, I enjoy watching the team. Just the quality of play is generally good. It's up and down. Of course, they were a little better earlier in the season. Mm-hmm. But I think that they're playing Izzo defense generally. The offensive structure looks good. I think when they have all their pieces, I think they'll be pretty solid. Not a Big Ten title contender, but they'll be solid. And then, depending on what happens next year, could be the year to really take a step forward.
There's something humorous to be said, and also accurate to be said, that just like, I like watching this team. Is like just where we're at kind of right now. Look, it's not where we want to be forever. And like, we hate to be in year 3 of this kind of limbo of, the time Izzo era and everything. But next year is looking pretty promising. But hey, right now for this year, like first time in 3 years, like you don't feel like, throwing your coffee mug against the drywall while watching a game most of the time. Most of the time. Like the end of the Portland game. Okay. I was starting to get a little antsy there, of course. The remote almost went straight through the television, but we were adults and we held our emotions in check, Sam. So we lived to see another day there. I want to throw you my first overreaction from the season. Mm-hmm. And I think that you set me up perfectly. You could tell that we've done this podcast anywhere from 5 times together to 55 times. I've lost count. Time is something like that. My first overreaction 1 month into the season is Malik Hall is your leading MVP candidate on this team. Now, a few weeks ago, or games ago, I said that, hey, Malik Hall, his stock really went up. He wasn't even playing because, they just lost that bad game Notre Dame, lost Northwestern. Okay, well, now I think he's got a legitimate shot to be like this MVP candidate because, look, you're 4-3 without him, near losses to Oregon without him, and Portland without him. Probably would have beat Northwestern with him. Or is there a person that's actually been playing that you favor for MVP candidate?
So if you go by points per possession differential when the player's on the court, so you get those numbers through Hoop Lens, Malik Hall is number 2. Jaden Akins is number 1. And Jaden Akins, like the defensive numbers, it's it's a small sample size for everybody this early in the season.
Sure.
But both those guys have been hurt, and Akins basically has benefited from a lot of like bad luck by opponents shooting threes. So his defensive numbers are insane. I think he's a good defender, but I don't think he controls the team's defense to that extent. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I think Hall, like they were awesome when he was on the court. I was very skeptical that he could play the three. And I was wrong, basically, like because Joey Hauser plays, he's their movement shooter that they're running off screens. Right. So it balances out. And then, Hall can hit an open shot. It takes him a while to get it off. But with Hauser and Walker, they have enough shooting to play Hall at the quote unquote three, which like he runs the wing in transition, but in the half court, it's, he's more setting screens for Hauser. So whatever you want to call it, I think they can get away with it. And then the sort of additive effect, I think, of having him and Hauser, who at least is big, and he's been better defensively this year than in the past. Yeah. And Sissoko, who, has been at times an excellent defensive presence. It's like when you add long wing after long, power forward after tall center, and then the 2 point of attack defenders in Hogard and Walker, it was a really nice defense. So I think, on both ends of the court, he was kind of the rug that tied the room together, is what we're seeing. So most valuable player, most important player. I don't know. I actually am kind of on board with that.
Hey, I'm 1 for 1. Oh man, I thought this would go horrible. I thought I'd be just getting completely swatted down for all 4 of these I have written down in front of me.
No, we're off to a good start. I really like that one.
Let's go on a heat check. And speaking of heat checks, who is lighting it up from the free throw stripe is one AJ Hogard. Yes, the guy that walked into this season shooting 63% from the charity stripe last year. So my second biggest overreaction 1 month into the season is AJ Hogard's free throw percentage of 88.6% is the most important stat so far to this season. Now, this is subjective because you can go team stat, you can go another player's individual stat, you can go opponent stats if you really want to. But I think AJ Hogard, 88% from the line has been massive. Also, 4-4 in the bonus and the road at Penn State. 4-4 in the final 205 against Oregon as well. So clutch free throws as well in there. Is there another stat that sticks out to you? Because I also have Joey Hauser shooting 42% from three is pretty nice as well. Mm-hmm. And then I also have, our Michigan State Spartans, 16% turnover percentage. That's 33rd best in the country. Like they've been like in the 200s. It's crazy.
Given where ISO teams are usually, that is just insane. So
insane, right?
I don't know if they can maintain that. They have better ball handling on this team than they have in a long time because with Hogard, you have a legitimate point guard, and then Walker is, not maybe like a starting point guard level at Michigan State ball handler, but he's very good for the two. And then Akins, point guard in high school, he can really handle the ball. And then they also have guys who can do stuff in isolation with, Hall when healthy and Hauser, he's done a much better job this year than in the past of just taking his opportunities when he gets an ISO and just post up and go in and do something. But to return to your original point, AJ Hogard's free throw percentage, if you look at Michigan State basketball as a project, as a program where we're really, we want not just every game to be won, but really it's kind of about the entire thing. We want sort of like the area under the curve to be maximized. AJ Hogard is, to me, I didn't really think he was this kind of guy as a recruit, but then as he emerged last season, it started to become clear, okay, maybe this is a guy who could take us all the way to the mountaintop, as your alpha kind of lead guard guy. I don't know for sure, but he's maybe not at the level of Cassius Winston and Mateen Cleaves, but he's a really good player and he's really tough. And as you noted, he's a guy Bill Raftery is going to refer to onions a lot when he's commentating games.
Sure.
And the free throw percentage is representative of a huge development in his game this year, which is his shooting. And against Penn State, he really won that game in the mid-range. Being able to get to that mid-range is that's always going to be there for him with his ability to get to the rim. And he showed a much improved shooting touch. And even though he's only, I think, at 25% or 29% for the year from three, His three-pointer has looked good. His rhythm looks really good. And I think they'll start to fall for him. So him rounding out his offensive package, if you're thinking about like both for this season and for next season, Michigan State reaching their ceiling as a team and as a program, that's probably a bigger deal than any of the other stuff. The only thing that could compete was, if you asked me after the first 5 games or so, I think I would have said just pick a Matty Sissoko statistic. The fact that they have like a starting center out of him, but he's fallen off a bit, and I think he's still contributing to winning. But his production is down. But no, I can't. I mean, it's definitely one of the things. I don't know if I would pick that individual stat myself, but I think the overall development of AJ Hogard, as represented by his shooting, is one of the most important things I've seen this season. So I can't hate on that.
I'll take that as a half win. That's fine.
80% of a win, easy.
Okay. Or 88% of a win, just like AJ Hogard's free throw percentage. You like that? That's called full circle, Sam. Let's go, baby. Bang. Bang. I got 2 more coming your way, or maybe even 3. Maybe 7. I don't know. We'll see how many I just think up at the end of the interview. But first, Sam, I'm sorry. I got to say goodbye to you really quick because I got to talk to people's ear off about Built Bar. That's right. Let's go. It's Built Bar time. Gang, you already know what this is all about. We've been talking your ear about Built Bar for weeks, if you're a weeks-long listener, months if you've been listening for that long, and God help you if you've been listening for years. We've been talking about Built Bar for that long. They're the best in the business. We're talking the protein bar that tastes better than a candy bar. It says right here, say it tastes as good as a candy bar. It's not as good as a candy bar. It's even better. And with these 3 flavors, cookie dough topper, coconut brownie bar, coconut brownie topper, are you kidding me? They are innovating the way that your workouts start. And hey, they're friendly to your taste buds, and they're also friendly to your body. We're talking 17 grams of protein in most of these Built Bars, shockingly low sugar and calories, and most are in the ballpark of just 130 calories, and they also love your wallet as well. Get 15% off your order right now by using promo code LOCKEDON15. That's all one word, locked on, and then the number 15 at built.com. Hey, we're talking stocking stuffers. Or if you're one of those crazy people that run out to the mall a few days before Christmas to wrap up all your holiday shopping, hand up on there. Hey, have a Built Bar before you go out to fight those crowds. That's right. And also get 15% off your order right now by using code LOCKEDON15 at built.com. One more time, that's LOCKEDON15 for 15% off your order at built.com. Sam, did I sell you on those Built Bars? Please say yes. Just please.
Yeah, I don't know if they ship to Canada, but I'm in.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure a lawyer's going to email me after that being like, why did you promise that? We don't know that for sure. But yeah, most likely they do. I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you got to spell it different here. There's like an E, extra E in there somewhere.
I think so. Yeah, Built Bar with an E at the that checks out.
BARRE, like for the
yes.
French. Built Bar.
All right. Enough of my horrible French Canadian accent right there. We're gonna get to at least 2 more takes. I think 2 is all I'm gonna give you here, but I like where we ended the last conversation. Talking about Matty Sissoko, and hey, the first 2 takes were fun takes. They were nice. They were really high energy about the team. This third one, not quite. My third take is that the outlook of the front court here has crashed harder than FTX has. It started off so high, right, Sam? Like, we're talking 30 combined points against Kentucky and Gonzaga from one Matty Sissoko. In the last 2 games, 0 combined points. And quite frankly, look, they played All-American talent against Kentucky, against Gonzaga. Ever since, far from All-American talent in opposing front courts, but they're still not getting a lot of production. And it goes further than Matty, Jackson Kohler. Okay, we're kind of a slow start. Harrison Cooper, of course, is starting slow. He's really not even supposed to be playing right now. But I guess that question is overall to you. I'm sorry, this is such a broad, lazy question. What's going on with the front court? Like, is it serviceable or what, in your opinion?
Yeah. I mean,
I know.
There's still a lot of I think Madi does things that still contribute to winning. The thing that he does every game, no matter what, is screen setting. And he really does set great screens. And that might seem like, oh my God, I cannot believe how corny, like white high school coach you sound right now. But like, I mean, like it makes
really?
a difference. Like,
Yeah.
MSU's main offensive play is AJ Hogard going around a ball screen. And like, if you watch consistently, like his guy dies on Madi's screens.
Yeah.
And you look at the Penn State game, he just kept getting into the mid-range over and over again. That's because you can't defend a pick and roll 2-on-2 unless you're going to switch with him setting screens like that. Now, the rolling to the rim, I don't know if it's that as much like point guards just aren't looking for him rolling to the rim, or if it's not there. I haven't been paying a ton of close attention to the coverages that teams are running throughout the game. But I think, that was never going to be Mady Sissoko scoring was never going to be like a main focus of MSU's offensive strategy. It's essentially like a constraint play on the defense. Like if you don't cover him, we'll throw the lob. But if you play drop coverage, which that's what Penn State was doing, like if your center just backs up, on a pick and roll, then that's not there. He's got really nice touch in the post, but they never go to that. That's not really like something they try to do. So I think you're going to see him have a big game at some point through the rest of the season. And I think he'll come back. I really like his, physical tools, his effort, and his touch around the basket. Those are things I think that are going to continue on for him this year and next year. So I'm not too worried about him. Kohler, I don't know. I mean, he might just need a little weight room time or something because he's a post-up guy. He's not getting like great looks. Like Nick Ward would get great looks in the post. Like you were like, yeah, that's his move. He got to his spot. I'm not seeing Kohler do that as much. It looks a little rough offensively, and if he can't do that, that's why you're seeing them rotate Cooper in because they're just not getting any. Like if you're not going to score Jackson Kohler, what would you say it is you do here? You got to learn.
Sure. Right.
That's not his strength. That wasn't his strength coming in anyway. It'll have to become his strength to play center. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a problem. On the other hand, if you get Malik Hall healthy, I think they'll close a lot of games with Hauser at center with the small lineup.
Yeah.
So once again, we come back to our friend Malik being a key piece. But yeah, it's been up and down. I'm still very long on Mady. Just overall, I mentioned a bunch of praise for him earlier, and I think it's also like people forget that like when he was 15, I think he was living in Mali and didn't speak English and like had never played basketball. So like he's improving very fast, and like it's not unexpected that he would be inconsistent still. Is all.
Gotcha. Like with Mady too, and they have been trying to get him going early in games lately. Like Penn State, I think he got 3 shots off before the under 16 timeout even rolled around. But like, it's almost as if he's the big man version of Bryn Forbes. And like, this is my memory of Bryn Forbes. This could be correct or incorrect, but like for Bryn, it was either like if that first 3 didn't go in, useless the rest of the game. Like he's going 1 of 8 and just complete dud out there. Whereas like Mady is like, well, if that first turnaround hook or that first, square up 5-footer doesn't fall, it's like, well, okay, that's another 3-point game for him, like coming up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. He I would bet he has a hard time like asserting himself, and I remember there was an episode of Hogard like yelled at him on the court last year. And so, he probably doesn't have a ton of confidence to really assert himself. But it reminds me, like, when I lived in LA, I watched a bunch of LA Clippers, and Doc Rivers was the coach of the LA Clippers at that time. They had DeAndre Jordan. And the first play of every single game was a post-up for DeAndre Jordan, like, to just get him involved and get him to try hard. So Izzo, that's a well-trod territory to, like, throw it to your defensive center early in the game just to keep him involved. But, I mean, it's not going to be the post-ups for him. Like, it's just not going to be the thing. It's rolling hard to the rim and then
rim running,
being in the dunker spot when somebody else does something and catching a lob. Like, that's really where his points are going to come. Offensive rebounds, putbacks, that kind of stuff. I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, I see where they're trying to get him going, but that's just not going to be his thing.
Understandable. And the last one I'm going to leave you off with is not even just like a hard question. This is kind of a softball. This is more so just to talk about one player. But my fourth overreaction is, like, I think that all of us are appreciative of what Tyson Walker is doing. I think we all agree that he's a pretty good player. But like, my fourth overreaction is I don't think Tyson Walker is still getting enough respect for what he's been doing so far this season. I still think that he's somehow underrated within like fan bases, like, Michigan State, of course. And hand up, like, I'm part of the problem. I'm one of the people that talk about Michigan State 5 days a week. So that might be on me that I'm not talking about him enough. But 14 points per game, 39.5% shooting from three, 1.1 steals, and just 1.3 turnovers per game. And oh yeah, he's doing this all at the tune of 34 and a half minutes per game. So, like, Tyson Walker, I just want to talk about him for a little bit. I think he's having a really nice season so far. Sam, that's it. That's all. That's all I just wanted to say.
Yeah, well, he's been very good, and he's filled a huge role for MSU. I think people expected him to be the point guard last year. He started out as a starting point guard. Hogard taking over that role has really helped Walker unlock the best version of him, which is he's kind of like a 3-and-D point guard, kind of like a Patrick Beverly type, where except the difference is he's a really good shooter. He's a movement shooter, and then his ability to get into the mid-range and the clutch, like
the mid-range,
shots, been money for MSU.
Amazing.
So, yeah, I mean, I think, and he's just such more of a willing shooter than he was last year. He was so hesitant, struggled so much with confidence.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's been great to see him playing better. And then he's also been a strong player on defense, a difference maker on defense, and playing at the point of attack and being the guy who can run around screens. Like, they have Hogard and Akins, who are a little more physical perimeter defenders. And Hall obviously is a much bigger guy. But those guys are good at moving their feet and defending isolations. What Walker does really well is that he's handsy, and then he'll also somehow block shots at the rim, even though he's like 5'11".
Right. Yeah.
But, he's been really good on defense, and then the ability to just like come off screens, firing for him and Hauser just changed the geometry of the floor on offense, and they've gone to that in critical moments. I mean, in that Kentucky game, they went to a three for Walker in the right corner off of a screen late in the game to tie it. I think maybe in overtime. So he's hit some big shots too. No, you gotta love it. You gotta freaking love it. I mean, it's he was heavily criticized at times last season, and I think he's found a way to play his best basketball.
I got a fifth quick one here, and this is a player we haven't even mentioned yet, I don't think. Pierre Brooks. My fifth overreaction is that, like, my favorite thing, like my micro weird niche thing about this team so far is when a Pierre Brooks three-pointer goes in, because, my God, that net just splits when he hits a swish three-pointer. You can hear the crack from your own couch when he hits a swish three-pointer. So, like, that's my fifth overreaction, is that nothing puts a smile on my face more than a Pierre Brooks clean swish. Obviously, good candidates can be the Tyson Walker mid-range jump shot, because it's going in every time, or Amadi Sissoko rim running dunk, because, oh my God, is the basketball stanchion going to still stand? Like, there's a lot of good options, but like Pierre Brooks three crisp.
He's got great form on it. He's only like 34% this year, but I feel like, that's definitely his swing skill. Like, he's not going to MSU's never going to have him do on the ball stuff. So he's got to be able to launch, and he's doing it. He's got to figure out his defensive game. But that's another thing where, like, my overall view of the season is positive, because having Malik Hall hurt and Jaden Akins hurt a little bit early in the year has forced them to play him, and then he'll be ready when they need him later. Like, maybe in their biggest games, not playing that many minutes, but I mean, like, let's see in a big conference game this year, somebody gets in foul trouble and they're running a play for Brooks off of a screen late in the game. And, Matt, you're probably feeling pretty good because that crack might be coming.
Amen. Look at that. Sam, it was great having you on. It's been way, way too long since we've had you on.
Dude.
Sorry for the large gap here, but we were talking before. Well, just we were talking before recording, like, hey, I'd love to have you on for basketball season. There's been a lot of football that we've had to talk about this season, for better or for worse. So, but yeah, love having you on, man. Would definitely love to have you on later this season. Literally anything that you want to plug right now, and anything that you want to plug. Let's go.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter at MoveBetterProj, MOVE Better PROJ, DIY physical therapy company, working on building that thing.
Look at that. Bada boom, bada bing. He does it all. He talks hoops. He'll make your arm feel better. He'll get your posture fixed. He does it all. Sam Martin, you are the best. And so is everyone else watching and listening. You guys are truly the best. Love every single one of you. I genuinely mean that. It has been quite a stretch for Michigan State sports. Again, some highs, but some lows. You guys are the best for keeping it here. Tune in to Lock on Spartans. Hey, tomorrow we got Justin Sin of 24/7 Sports on the show. The day after that, we'll have Mark Titus on. It's going to be a hoot and a half. Let's go. Go Green. Love you all.